Hey, what is going on, guys? SpartanNJones here, and today I'm doing another video for Overwatch, because this time it's going to be a kind of a tutorial for beginners for Overwatch itself. This is a video on what characters should you really choose for Overwatch when you start to play it, or if you've already started playing it but not really getting into it a little bit, maybe these are the characters that you should go in and just try it out just to get used to the game itself. So in this video I'm actually only going to go over 5 characters. I'm going to go over 2 assaults, 1 defense, 1 tank, and then 1 support. It's only just to get like a little bit of a variety, because I could have just gone for quite a few of the assaults, because the assaults are probably the easiest ones to use out of any others. But I decided why not go for each and every one of the types and then just add another one to assault. So really, if we start off with the assault classes itself, it's really simple to know which one you're going to go for that one. It's kind of Soldier 76. That one's so much more easier to just pick. That guy is probably the epitome of every single first-person shooter that there is. It's like the same in Battleborn to this, Oscar Mike to Soldier 76. It's like a starting character for people to choose, and as well in the tutorial you get to use him. So for his like little abilities, he's got a no recoil gun, so that's pretty easy. The spray of the gun, as long as you're holding it, goes a little bit bigger, but not that much. So then you have a sprint option. So this is like the only characters that really got like a sprint. Every single other one's got like a faster walk, but Soldier 76 have got an actual sprint. And then you've got a rocket kind of propelled thing where it just fires off 3 rockets, and it's not really guided, it's just shoot it towards these things, and then that's it. Which as well, he has got a bionic field, which is like a healing pad for himself and other characters, which is a pretty good thing to have. So that means if you don't want to play as like a normal a shooty person, you could actually go for a kind of a support kind of person, as long as you put it in the corner in a good place just to hide it in. And then you have his ultimate ability, which is Tactical Visor, which is, it's a really easy thing to use. All you have to do is just hold Y, and then you get to target every single enemy that's in your view, and your bullets go towards him pretty much. So that one's a pretty easy ability to use out of any other ability. So now if we go on to the second person that we're going to choose, and it's still another like an offense assault person, this is the Reaper, because I've been using him quite a bit, and I used him at the start of the beta as well, and at the start of the game, and he's pretty easy to use, even though he's got like a short range spread weapons, and it's just got like Hellfire shotguns, but he has got 2 shotguns, and he's got 8 rounds in the shotguns, so you get to fire it 8 times, and then you've got everything else. So every single kill you get, you actually restore some of your health from the souls that you get from the enemies. And then you have different types of abilities. So you have like a Wraith form, which makes you invulnerable and you move faster, so you cannot be shot, but you cannot shoot through that. So it's a little bit annoying with that. But it's a good way to just evade people and just to get away from them. And then you have Shadow Step, which is a teleport to a target, or to a target location, so you get to just go across the entire map, go to places that you can't really reach as like normal players, apart from like a Widowmaker or anything like that. But Reaper can actually get up there and just teleport up there, and it's a pretty good place to get for like an advantage point, especially with other types of maps like the London map itself, the Britain map. Then there's the Mumbai map, where there's quite a lot of like roof areas which you can get to, so that one's a pretty good way to actually use him. And then you have his ultimate ability, which is Death Blossom, which Death Blossom is just a spin cycle of death pretty much. For myself, there's been quite a lot of incidents where I haven't been able to kill anybody with it, even though I've hit every single person that's there. If you're going against a lot of weak enemies and stuff like that, and then it's easy. You'll get the kills in like a couple of, maybe 2 spins. You'll get the kill instantly. But for heavy enemies, it's a little bit harder to do that. So for those, you have to try and go for the shotguns and just make sure that they are a long range type person. Especially if you're using the Reaper, you're better off going against anybody who's like McCree or something like that. McCree's a pretty good one, just because you can go into your Wraith form and it won't stop him. And McCree's got this flashbang, so you won't get stopped by him. The only way that he'll stop you, there's only 2 characters that really stop your Death Blossom as well, which is Roadhog and McCree, which is the flashbang, and then Roadhog's like hook thing. Those 2 stop you from using your ability, so you just have to kind of watch out for your surroundings when you're using those guys. So now if we go on to everybody says that it's probably the OPest person in the entire game, which is Bastion. Bastion is amazing. If you wanted to go for like a defensive role, if you want to use it for like a payload, you could just sit Bastion on top of the payload, or if you're on defense itself, then just sit Bastion on the top of the payload. You're never going to get anywhere, because Bastion is a sentry gun recon type person. He has 3 different forms. The first form is just a recon type of thing, so he's a mobile, but he's got a light automatic gun, which it's got 20 shots per gun round and every single time, so it gets quite a lot of shots off, and it does a little bit of damage. I don't think towards the heavier enemies it doesn't do enough damage, but that's fine. It's all good in that, because it shouldn't really take a full clip to kill a heavy person. It'll be a little bit OP in that way. But then he's got a second form, which is like a sentry turret type form, which is a lot more powerful. That is probably the way to use it for like a defensive placement and stuff like that. So you get up to like a higher place, sit Bastion down into like a turret's position, and then you just rain hell on every single person that's down below. Pretty easy to do. And then you have the self-repair, which Bastion can heal himself, but right now you can't heal yourself from minimal health to full health. You can't get from, I think it's like 50 to 300. I think you can only do 200 health per repair. Then you have to wait a couple of seconds, like I think it's like 10 or 15 seconds to go for the full repair again. So that's a fair enough. They changed that from the beta, where the beta you could literally just get yourself healed up fully, and they had no cooldown for it. So you could just keep on doing it. There was no stopping you, but now they've changed that up. But he's pretty good in that way, because you don't really need a healer as long as you're out of sight, and then you could heal yourself. It's a pretty good way to go for that. And then we go on to his ultimate form, which is a tank, which is so good. Against like smaller characters, it's probably maybe the best one to use, because it's literally one hit they're dead, one hit they're dead, one hit they're dead. Especially against mercies and stuff like that. Characters that are only like 200 and 250 health or lower, they can get killed pretty easy. Characters who are like bigger, like Roadhog or Reinhardt or something like that, it's a little bit harder. It does take 2 shots for those guys. So you just have to try and watch out, make sure that you don't get pulled in by Roadhog and then chain gun back, because it could damage you quite a lot. And well, the tank form, it does give you a lot more health. It does give you double and maybe a little bit less than double, but it's all good. Bastion's probably one of the best ones to use out of every single character. Now we go on to the tank form. So the tank form, there was quite a few that I could have picked from, but I would say that Roadhog is probably the easiest one to use, especially in my opinion, because I've been using Roadhog so much, and he's so good in like a 2v1 kind of perspective. So as long as like you're by yourself and you're going against 2 really weak ones, it's fine. If you're going against like a Zenyatta, then you're screwed, because Zenyatta could tear you up. Even though he's only a healer, Zenyatta could kill you pretty fast. But with Roadhog, you get a scrap gun, which is, well, RT or R1, or if you're on PC, I don't know what it is. It is a short-range spread weapon, so you get a short-range shotgun shell, and then LT or L2, oh, it's L2, sorry, but a medium-range shotgun, so it kind of bursts it. It goes like into a ball and then spreads it out, but it's, well, the medium range one, you don't want to use at long range. It's kind of like a midpoint. As soon as your short range one cannot hit him, go for the medium one, and it could probably get a full effect on him. And then Roadhog itself has got the chain hook, which is the thing that is probably best used for. So if you go for a medium shot, hit them once, and then get the chain hook in, and then go for a short range hit, it kind of tears up their health quite a bit, especially against the smaller enemies. You could just literally chain them in and one hit them with the short range one, which is so good to use, especially against like tracers and ones that have got that much health, like a 150 point health. They can do one hit in the head and they're dead. And then Roadhog itself has actually got another healing ability, so that's 2 healers or 3 healers, 4 healers, about the entire game, so that's pretty good for that way. But Roadhog's actually heals about 300 of your health. About 350 I think it is. I don't really know exactly how much it is. I never really look at it. I just hope to God that it heals me to full. But it's to take the breather, so it's like you eat an apple and then you heal yourself and then you just go back and shoot everything else up. But it does take like 2 seconds to get yourself healed fully. And then for his ultimate form, it is a thing called a whole hog. So it pretty much, it damages all the enemies and gives them a knockback. So if you're on a map where it's like a capture and there's a point where you can just knock them all off, it's probably the best character for that, because use the whole hog, you knock them off the map, and then they take forever. You get all the kills from that. I've done that so many times, especially with the chain hook as well. You pull them in and you're across like a little lake, so you pull them in as you're just on the edge, and they fall back down to the ground and they all die. So that's pretty fun to do. And especially with the Roadhog as well, you can do that from the opposite way. Sometimes you can burst them over to like an edge, and it's pretty fun to use. So Roadhog's probably maybe the funnest with Reaper in that way, but Roadhog's the tank form, which you could probably use for a beginner. So the last character that we're going to go for is the support role. So there's 2 that I could have picked, but I've gone for the one that's more of a shooty kind of person. Even though he is the first 2-star that we're picking in the entire game, he's still a pretty good player to use. And especially for beginners, it's pretty easy to use him as well. Because I know that my mate just started playing it, and we told him to use Lucio, so he's a pretty easier one to play as, instead of any others, because we needed a support, so we thought we're better off getting him instead of like a Mercy or something like that, because Mercy is probably the second one. But for Lucio, he's more of a shooty person. So the first of all, he can actually do a wall run, so he could just glide across the wall, making it easier to get to places. It's just his normal ability that just comes with him. And then he has like a sonic amplifier type thing, so he fires like sonic projectiles. So that's a pretty good thing, because it takes about, hang on, let's just check. So I just checked just then, and it takes about 4 or 5 rounds, maybe 4 rounds to kill off like a heavier type person, somebody who's got like 500 health. It takes about 4 rounds, so that's okay in that way. It does take like 4 shots, so that's okay. It doesn't take that long. For smaller enemies, it does only take like 2 shots, so that's okay. It's an easier one to use. It's not as bad as Mercy's, where it's just like a single shot weapon, it's just a pistol. But with Lucio, it just keeps on going, and he's like a constant healer person. And then he has like another ability, which is his LT, or the back L, the back left button, which is like a short knockback type close range thing, same as Roadhog's whole hog type ability, but this time it's just like a passive one, which you could just do occasionally and just knock people back. If you're doing like a payload type thing, it's just knock them back away from the payload itself, which is a pretty good thing to use. And then we go on to the other one, which is Amped Up, which actually increases the effectiveness of the current song that you're using. So for Lucio, you get 2 types of songs. This is another ability as well. This is the LB ability, where you're allowed to switch between healing and you're allowed to switch between health. So the Amped Up thing actually just increases the amount of things that it does. For speed wise, you just get there a little bit faster, or for health, it just makes them heal a little bit faster. So that's a pretty good thing to use. And then Lucio's ultimate ability is called Sound Barrier, which actually allows allies to actually get a temporal shield. So it gives you about, I think it's like 1/3 of your health as your shield, maybe 1/4 as your health as your shield. I'm not quite sure, I didn't really see it as much, but it actually gives you that much in a shield. So that's pretty good to have, especially for that type of character. It's pretty easy to use. But if there's any characters that I've missed out that you think is easier to play as, then say it so down below as well, give your reasons for that. So hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. So peace out.